Welcome in to another episode of the CC Football Podcast. As always, my partner in crime, Craig Castellino, is on the other line with me. And today we are going to be revealing our much anticipated Premier League 2022-2023 predictions. Craig, what's going on?
I feel like that's the first time you said welcome in. You always say welcome back.
I know.
I don't know how I feel about the change in the intro.
All right, take two.
No, how do you feel? Oh, you know what? I just thought of this that we should have done. Do you still have our predictions from last year?
I can find them, yeah.
What we could do, or we could even do another episode. I was watching, I guess the way that you score these predictions I saw online is you get like X amount of points for how many ever places off you were for each team. And then it's like golf, obviously the lowest score wins. So you like see how many points you got total.
That makes sense.
So I was going to say we could see how we did last year and then do our current predictions.
Yeah. Let me try to find it. Maybe this will be a thing that I'll do offline. And then at the next episode, I will reveal.
Just tell the point totals.
Yeah.
All
right. Well, as you guys can see here for you on YouTube, we have done it a little bit differently this year. We have separated it into like a tier-based thing, and we're just going to go tier by tier from the bottom. What do you think? From the bottom to the top, or do you want to do like?
Yeah, from bottom to the top. Bottom to the top, definitely.
All right. So we're going to reveal both of our like 18 through 20th at the same time, and then just kind of talk about what we see. So let's kick it off. Let's get it going. Let's see. 18 through 20th, Craig. Let's see what you got.
All right, let me just delete these fancy boxes and reveal my answers. Ooh.
Right, so yes, Fulham, Bournemouth, and Southampton. Okay.
Yeah, and these are in order, by the way. So like 18th Southampton, 19th Bournemouth, 20th Fulham. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much I need to explain. I used back in the day, I feel like I would try to keep championship teams up a lot, and it didn't work out too much. Usually at least one goes down, if not two. And to be perfectly honest, I don't actually know too much about Fulham and Bournemouth. I didn't follow them much. Or Nottingham Forest. I didn't follow almost any of the championship. But yeah, I went ahead, put Fulham in last just because, you know, I did some research basically. As I said, I don't know anything about them. Yeah, I did the research and you know, I've always known they're a typical yo-yo club. It worked with Norwich last year, so I'm going to do it with Fulham this year. And then, yeah, Bournemouth, same thing. Southampton was the only one that was like, okay, I know about them, and I'm making that conscious decision to. I think they're kind of going to be like Burnley was last year, and that, you know, they've stayed up for a while, and they were actually a decent team a few years ago, but they've lost a bunch of players. They haven't gained too many exciting ones. They only have some like young talent coming through that they're excited about, but that's not going to be enough. And I think this is kind of the year that, just like Sean Dyche had the end of his Premier League last year, I think this is going to be Hasenhüttl's last time. I think just the body language of him and the players as well, you see last season just wasn't happy, and it didn't seem like the Southampton that we know and love at St. Mary's. So I just think this is the year they go down. Also, I wasn't going to put
You're sending our boy James Ward-Prowse down to the championship.
Oh, someone will sign him because he'll be cheap.
Dude, that would be quite the pickup because I think he's a great player.
He's a fantastic player.
All right, let's reveal my relegation teams here. Drum roll, please. Bam.
You're Fulham staying up. Talk about a yo-yo.
Yeah, so I also chose two promotion teams, but this one was Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest, and Leeds. And the Leeds one, I guess, was the most difficult. It was the team I put in 18th. It was the most difficult one. I just think that one, they were last year they were already fighting relegation, and then they lost their two best players. It's going to be very, very difficult for them, no matter what the transfer business they've done to try to replace them to stay up. And I really enjoy Leeds and their play style and how they attack. And
Well, they have a new coach as well, so they might have a different play style now.
maybe, yeah, but like I've enjoyed that watching them throughout the last 2 years that they've been up.
Yeah.
But like I just think that if you lose Rafinha and Calvin Phillips, that it's going to be very, very difficult for them to stay up. And so yeah, that's why I'm putting them down. And then on the other side, I have the two of the new championship teams, Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest, going down also. And that's kind of the same thing that you said. I don't really know too much about them, but I know that Fulham had a historic championship season last year, scoring lots of goals. So, I mean, that's why I chose Fulham to stay up out of the one of my championship teams I wanted to stay up. So I'll send the two down.
All right. Let's go to your 15 through 17.
Yeah, so I didn't choose. I have Brentford, Fulham, and Southampton. And Southampton, I almost put in the relegation zone over Leeds for the exact same reasons that you said. Fulham, even though I think they'll stay up, there are a new championship or a new Premier League side that recently got promoted, and you can argue that they just come up and they're this new Premier League side every other year. But I do think they'll have enough to stay up, but barely. And then Brentford, I think that Brentford, maybe
they did finish like 12th last season.
I know, yeah. So I think maybe they'll take a little bit of a step back, but I think maybe like at 15th they'll be like comfortably safe.
Okay.
Relegation, like I think the gap from 15th through 18th will be pretty large.
Fair enough. We're very similar with our bottom six.
Wow. So our bottom six are the exact same 6 teams.
Yep. Just in a little bit of a different order. We both have Brentford in 15th. I think it's not even just that they have a little bit of a drop. It's like the second season test. So yeah, I agree they'll have a little bit of a drop. Sheffield United finished 9th in their first season, got relegated in their second. So, it's never a done deal just because they do well in one season. But also, as we were talking about when we were making these predictions, the Premier League just feels really good this year. There's a lot of really promising teams. A lot of teams have made really good signings, starting from the 8th to 11th and going up. So it was really difficult to make anyone this far down. Leeds, I think you kind of said there. If you think about their season that they did really well when they got promoted, their best players were probably Bamford and what's his name, Calvin Phillips, and then they got Rafinha, and him and Calvin Phillips probably their best players. Now, Patrick Bamford kind of wasn't a thing last season. Anyways, he was injured most of it, and even when he came back, he didn't really impress. So it's kind of like they've lost their 3 best players over the last few years. Okay, they had Luke Ayling. They've had some good center backs. There are some good outside backs and stuff as well, but they don't really have kind of a core going through the center of the team that they used to have. So I put them down at the bottom. And then the other two I don't need to explain. I chose to keep them up. They did sign 2 Manchester United players, Lingard and Dean Henderson. And I think Lingard, you said in our predictions or in our draft episode that he did well when he went out on loan. I think he was going to do well again because there's no pressure. It's a newly promoted side. I think he'll do well again. And then
he actually got playing time.
Yeah, and he'll actually get playing time. And then I actually think that a goalkeeper makes a huge difference at this level. Well, at any level, but especially at this level. I think because this is the level at which goalkeepers are going to be facing a lot of shots compared to the top teams who have really good defenses. Yeah. And so the upgrade from the last goalkeeper to Dean Henderson, who many people think should be United's first choice goalkeeper, that's a huge upgrade. And I think that's going to make all the difference. That was a huge deal when Sheffield United finished almost 9th, having Dean Henderson in goal. So that's the reason I chose them. That was actually the main reason, and Lingard as well. But the main reason is the goalkeeper that they have that's better than kind of the other teams around them. I think that'll save them a few goals, save them a couple points, and at that level, it makes all the difference.
Good reasoning. Let's go 12 to 14 for Craig. 12th, he has Brighton. 13th he has Everton, and 14th Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I think this is around this level is where it started getting tough between the 8th through 14th. I think I could have rearranged these teams so many different ways. Brighton, man, I did Brighton dirty. I like Brighton a lot, and I said that last year. I was like, I love Brighton. I love Graham Potter, and I think I chose them to
go down last year.
Yeah, I think I chose them to get relegated.
What?
They obviously proved me wrong, which I was really happy about because I do like the team a lot, and I think they're a good team. But if you had asked me before, I said, yeah, I'm going to put them top 10 this year, or at least, yeah, I didn't think I would put them 12th. But then it's so strong that I just didn't know what to do, and it's hard to bet on them because they've had one really good year. It's with all the other teams, so I have made one bold prediction, which we'll see a little bit later. Brighton was not it. I'm going to stick Brighton 12th, a little bit worse than they did last year. Yeah, they're going to lose Cucurella. I think they lost someone else as well. I'm not sure. And I'm not entirely sure if the signings they've brought in. I think it'll just be a tough league this year. So they'll still do well. They'll still beat some of the top teams, but they'll finish 12th. Everton, I don't really know what.
I mean,
what?
They lost Basuma.
Oh, they lost Basuma. Yeah, that's the other one. I knew they lost somebody else. That was kind of he was huge. He kind of held the team down in the midfield.
Definitely.
Everton, I don't really know what to think about. I had them everywhere from 17th to 8th while I was making this thing. But at the end of the day, I think I went with a good in between of 13th. They could, they have a lot of talent in the team, so they could prove me way wrong and finish in the top 7 or something if they really kick off.
Do they have a lot of talent in the team?
Yeah.
Look at their squad. Like, who gets you excited?
Exactly.
There's nobody.
Okay. There's no one. Obviously, there's no one that gets me really excited right now because of the season they had last year. But if you look back to last year, we thought they were going to have I thought they were going to have a pretty good season last year, starting the season. They lost Richarlison, yes, but they still have Calvert-Lewin. I was actually excited about Iwobi. I don't really know. I don't think anybody else was. But they've got some decent players in midfield. Demarai Gray is a good player, or he showed some stuff that he can do in the last couple of seasons. I'm not saying they have like a great team, but we've seen worse teams finish higher before, and they have the name. Anyways, I put them 13th, so that's where I think they'll finish because they lost Richarlison, who was kind of their brightest hope last season. And then Crystal Palace, I think this is they won't be happy with this 14th after they had a decent season, and they're going to hope to only get better. And you could actually say that they have much more exciting talent than Everton, but they lost Conor Gallagher, who was the spark last year, kind of in the midfield, taking him forward. He's back to Chelsea from the loan army, but they still have a lot of exciting talent, and I'm excited to see where they go.
All right. My 12 to 14. It's
no way.
Same teams. I swear to you guys that we did not collaborate at all before this. Once again, it's in a different order. So I have 12th Crystal Palace, 13th Brighton, and then 14th Everton. I mean, for all the same reasons that you said, Craig.
Yeah, this is good though that we all have like kind of the same teams, because then one person can talk and the other person can just reiterate.
Yeah, I just put Palace above Brighton and Everton because I just think that they do, out of the other two teams in this tier, that I think that Palace have the most exciting young talent in terms of they have young players like Olise and Eze, and also still have Zaha and I don't know, Edouard and all these other players. And they also signed what's his name? Some midfielder from France. I'm not sure, from the French league, but he's supposed to be like pretty good. And he's pretty young too. So yeah, I just think that Brighton might reel a little bit from losing Basuma because he was such a linchpin in the middle of the park for them. And then Everton, I tried to find a way to make him come over, but I think that there's a pretty clear bottom 7 teams, and I would put Everton in there. But like
we also don't really have much faith in Frank Lampard, or yeah, I mean the general public.
The other thing about Everton is that like I don't really think that they've done that much in the transfer window yet.
Yeah.
So
they did sign some Burnley players.
Because that's a great recipe for success.
In the Premier League, typically it is, but not anymore, I guess. All right. Oh, all right. Here we go. This
All
this
right.
see this was tough.
This
This
was
whole
tough. This is when it starts getting difficult. 8th through 11th. So 8th, I have Newcastle United. 9th, I have Leicester. 10th, Wolves. 11th, Aston Villa.
8th place finish for Newcastle.
Yeah, I'm predicting a big step forward here for Newcastle United, and I think that they are doing the rebuild of their squad, or I guess not the rebuild, but the build of their squad the right way. They're starting from the back, and I mean, they signed Botman this year, who's supposed to be a really, really good Dutch center
Mhm.
back. And I just think that Newcastle, they already were a good defensive team last year, but with the addition of Botman, they are going to be very, very difficult to score on. They also signed Nick Pope, who is, as we know, a good goalie, a good
Very
strong.
good goalie.
Yeah. So with that back line of Pope, Trippier, Botman, I'm not sure who their other center back is, and then Matt Target, I think that they are built to withstand some pressure and absorb it up and play on the counterattack with their exciting players like St. Maximin and other people up front. That's why I have Newcastle United going in 8th. And you also, like, if you compare them to the reserves or to the finances of the other 3 teams, you don't know what they're going to do. They could turn around and sign Ronaldo tomorrow or something like that. Like, I don't think that would actually happen, but they have the most potential for big spending. Leicester, I think they have a decent squad still. Vardy is aging. And they've kind of taken a step back. They used to be like that staple of the 5th place team, but now I think that they've gotten overtaken by teams like West Ham and Arsenal and Tottenham have kind of reemerged. So I think that Leicester are pretty comfortably in this tier. They still have good players, like I said, with Madison and other talents like Harvey Barnes. I like a lot, but I just don't think they have enough to go any higher than this at this moment. And then Wolves and Villa. Oh man, dude, the thing is, I like all the teams in this tier. I really do.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and it's like I wanted to find a way to put them higher, but that meant that like someone else that I have above them would have just like a collapse of whatever their expectations are.
Mm.
And the odds are that like one of these teams probably will finish higher than they are expected, which means that I mean, one fan base's expectations are going to be shattered, but we'll see whose it is. But yeah, I put Wolves and Villa here because I mean, I wanted to put them higher again, but I just couldn't.
All right. Do we have the same teams in this tier as well? Ooh.
Oh, 3 of 4. Actually, 3 of 4 in the exact same order.
Yep. I did have 9th, 10th, 11th. I had Leicester, Wolves, Villa, but I had West Ham in 8th place. I predicted them a little bit lower this year, even though I'm a huge West Ham fan, as you know. Yeah, I can't remember where I predicted them last year. I definitely didn't predict them as high as they finished, but I think
we
wanted
both predicted them about in the same region that you have them now because we thought that they would be tired from European football.
Oh yeah. That is true. And they finished well. They did well. I mean, United only beat them, I think, on goal difference to finish 6th place. So
Yeah.
they did very well. The problem is I did feel like they started dying out a little bit towards the end of the season, which is what we predicted. The problem is they had a really strong rest of the season, but like you look at who was carrying them. Antonio was carrying them to the beginning of the season, and then he just kind of died out. Yes, he got injured, but then I think he's just getting older, and he just couldn't keep up the form for the whole season. Although Jared Bowen did kind of start off maybe in the middle of the season when Antonio was slowing down, and then he did carry them all the way to the end. So they have a lot of exciting players. They have Benrahma, a lot of talent. They have Declan Rice holding down the fort. They have very good center backs, decent goalkeeper. They have Cresswell. They have Soufal. They have great players. For some reason, I just think that I don't know. I think that Antonio, that striker, is also really important for them, and I don't think he's going to do as well this season based on the slowdown last season. But 8th place is still a really good finish. And just to point out, I just think it's going to be between 5th through 8th. I think it's going to be really tight, like the points, just like they were last year. It's not going to be a lot in them. So they might finish, 7th or 6th, a couple points ahead, goal differential. But yeah, I think you already pointed out the reasons for the other 3. I feel like Leicester fans will be disappointed with the ninth place, but they haven't done anything in the transfer window. I'm talking about Antonio getting old. Vardy's definitely getting older. He can't just keep going on and on. Madison,
You
Harvey
hope
Barnes.
that Daka would take a leap forward in his second year and be able to fill those shoes, but we'll see.
Yeah, again, that's something we have to see so far. And then, yeah, Madison, Barnes are exciting. I think Ndidi is really important having him, and they do have a good defense as well. But it's just after last year's performance or last season's performance, you would expect them to have gone and made some signings. It's not that they don't have exciting players. Yeah, unlike Everton, if you ask me who I think is exciting on Leicester, I can go ahead and name maybe close to the whole team sheet that I think is exciting, which I don't at Everton. But I yeah, I just the lack of signings is what's really um put them here. And then I think Wolves and Villa have great teams. Like they have a lot. Again, I think they have a lot of exciting players. Wolves, if Jimenez comes back, he didn't last year really come back, but if he properly comes back, they have Huang to go along with him. They've got a lot of attacking options. They've managed to keep Neves and Moutinho, and you get another year. Very good midfield.
Pedro
Connor
Neto.
Cody, Willy Volley, whatever their defense. Ait Nouri, I'm a big fan of Ait Nouri. And then a very good.
There was one game where Ait Nouri gave Salah some fits, and you were going crazy.
Well, yeah, because Salah was invisible the whole game. It was the Liverpool Wolves game, and then Ait Nouri I don't think he got subbed off. I think he got injured because he was their best player. He got injured.
He got taken off because he had a knock or something, and then
and it was like
I think Salah scored like right after that or something.
Yeah, and it was either like 0-0 up until then, or maybe even Wolves were winning. I can't remember. And then he got taken off, and then Salah. It was like 15 minutes left in the game, and he scored maybe even twice. Or he scored one and assisted one, and then Liverpool won the game.
Yeah,
I think Wolves might have been up, yeah. And then he scored one and assisted one, and just who was it that came on? He just toasted him down that side. Anyways, well, they also have Semedo, but he was okay. And then Villa have I'm not going to go ahead and name them, but lots of exciting talent. We all know Villa's talent because I think did I predict them in the same place last year, maybe even higher?
I don't know. I think that we both had them around this like mid-table spot.
Yeah, I think I even went higher because I have big faith in Villa's players. But all right,
and we all know they have the second best manager in the world, CBG.
Yeah, exactly. They have Coutinho, yeah, to add to all those exciting players they already had last year.
Yeah.
All right, this was my big reveal for the whole.
Oh,
the
Newcastle United in 7th place. So Craig's predicting Newcastle to get European football. It is Conference League, but it's European football.
Yeah, I think they'll get Conference League, and it feels like a less of a big reveal because you also predicted them pretty high. 7th and 8th place is close to the same thing.
Yeah, but I feel like that is a big jump when you talk about a team that is trying to take that next step forward to secure any level of European football for Newcastle this year. It would be crazy.
Yeah, you know what? I think they're ready. Like I think they're ready. I think they're making huge strides. I think they're doing it right. I think they're being run the right way. Well, not with like the human rights issues and stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about they're being run the right way as far as, like you said, the transfers, everything that they're buying. They have a fantastic manager who I believe in a lot, Eddie Howe. And yeah, you already talked about the players. They're building from the back. With Sven Botman, they already bought Trippier. They bought what's his name? Target on the other side.
Pope.
And Trippier got injured last year, so he didn't have him. They have Pope, and then Bruno was Bruno was fantastic. I'm a big fan of players named Bruno, and he was brilliant after he came in. He was better after he came in. He was the best Bruno in the league for the second half of last season. My Bruno wasn't that great, and he was amazing. And then even up top, they have Callum Wilson. They have Joe Linton. I guess he's more of a midfielder now based on last season.
Yeah.
Alan
too.
Yeah, Saint-Maximin, Joe Willock's really exciting young player who scored some very important late goals for them last year. So I think they have a lot of talent. They have the talent there. They're making the right signings. They have the right manager. Why not predict the boom? I needed to make one big prediction this year. This was my big prediction. Newcastle getting European football.
I like it. I'm on the same wave here, and my 7th place team is West Ham. I do think that I like Newcastle for the same reasons that you said and the same reasons I said, but I think that as of this moment, West Ham to still have a better squad and a more experienced squad. This is now going to be what their second or third year. They're really fighting in the top 6 or 7 to the Champions League spots or whatever. And I just think that maybe the inexperience of Newcastle could come back to bite them towards the end of the season or something else. I really like the midfield of West Ham with Declan Rice, who it was great that they were able to keep him this transfer window. So, and then Suchek, I think that pairing right there is a great base for any team, let alone West Ham, right? So with that combined with Bowen, who had a brilliant season last year, I just think West Ham will have enough to be above Newcastle and Leicester and Wolves and Villa. But I do think that it'll be close. I don't think that they're going to be as close to my 5th and 6th place teams, who are. Craig can reveal them now.
Oh, that was a nice segue. I missed. Whoa. See, I'm surprised with the Chelsea pick.
Yeah, so I have Chelsea and Manchester United as my 5th and 6th place teams. I don't think that West Ham are going to be as close to, well, really Chelsea. I don't think they're going to be as close to Manchester United. I don't know. I don't really know. But I'm saying that West Ham are closer to 8th, 11th than they are 5th to 6th right now for me.
Okay.
Anyways, my 5th and 6th place teams, Chelsea and Manchester United. I think that the Blues might surprise everybody this year, or this
what, negatively?
Negatively, yes. And I saw somewhere that like Thomas Tuchel could be the first manager sacked this season. That's like a prediction. I don't know.
What? You're basing it off a prediction?
No. I'm just saying that I was thinking about it and I was like,
oh, okay.
You know what? Given Chelsea's nature to have a short leash with teams and managers that aren't performing properly or up to their expectations, I could see it. You know, if they get off to a poor start to the year, you know, Sterling's not kicking at Koulibaly's getting cooked or whatever, and like really, other than that, I mean, I guess now they're linked with getting Cucurella, which for me is kind of an interesting transfer business, considering I think that they, at this point, now that they have Ben Chilwell back, don't really need a left back. They need another.
They have Chilwell and Alonso, Alonso did really well last season.
Right, exactly. So now I don't really know why they would sign Cucurella unless they plan on putting one of those Alonso and Chilwell into the center back position or something like that, or they plan on going to a back 4 formation. But yeah, the real reason for me is that I don't think that in their system with basically the 3-4-2-1 that they play, I don't really think that they can function to their fullest potential without a proper number 9. And I think that Kai Havertz is a good player. He's really creative and stuff, but he's not a out and out striker. He is a false 9. And I really believe that they're going to miss the opportunities that we thought that like someone like Lukaku could finish. And that's why last year, you and I both predicted them to be in first, because we thought that Lukaku would take them to the next level.
Yeah.
I just think that I've liked the improvements that the teams I'm going to put above them have shown more than what they have done this window. And I don't know. They didn't end last year on a greatest note either. So, and as far as United, I mean, I think that you can talk about it a little bit more if you want when you get to them. But I just have not been thrilled with what they've done in the transfer window. Yes, they still have a decent squad and they have a new manager. And he's finally they're on like the cutting edge of like the leading edge of the football, I guess, landscape. You know, for a while they had been like Mourinho and even Solskjaer.
Van Gaal.
Yeah, they had been like old school, but now they have someone who's going to be a little bit more creative with the way that their tactics go. And I think that they might push into a Champions League spot because they still do have a good squad, but there are definitely big holes at the United team.
Hey, I might not be getting to United for a while. You don't know where I have United.
Yeah, we'll see.
No, I have them in 6th as well. But I do have Arsenal in 5th instead of Chelsea. Yeah, I think you already pointed out all the issues with United pretty much basically United could have, the board could have used this transfer window the right way with the new manager, backed him all the way, which I think most people, even non-United fans, kind of thought they were going to do. So for some reason, I don't know why I thought they were going to do that. um, they've never done it before. Yeah, I thought they were going to back him all the way. He's going to get the players that we wanted. And then I think we would have been talking about most people would have been predicting United maybe a little bit higher. I think like fourth, fifth would have been kind of the average. But I think that sixth place is where 90% of people would put United if you asked them.
Wait, so do you think the reason they haven't had that many incomings, because so far they've gotten Ericsson and they've gotten that
They got Ericsson, Martinez from
Martinez. So
and then Malacia.
So do you think that that's because of the board, or do you think that that's because this whole thing has been tied up by the Frankie De Jong?
Well, that's all part of the board. That's what I'm saying. That's been
Is
there.
it though? Because I mean, you have De Jong going back and forth. Oh, I want to play for Manchester United. Oh, I don't want to play for Manchester.
He's not going back and forth. He's only said that he doesn't want to play for Manchester United.
Okay, so like, why does United keep on pursuing him? I think that might be because I mean, you just know Ten Hag's like history with him because he coached him at Ajax. Maybe he's told the board like do like Frankie De Jong at all costs type thing. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. So the problem is, I agree with that. Like maybe, of course, Ten Hag wants De Jong, and I'm not saying that I'm not saying that Barcelona and De Jong haven't made it. This has been like the most difficult that they've made it. But at the end of the day, like, if we're gonna go for him no matter the cost, then go for him no matter the cost. Get it done at the beginning of the summer. And if you know what I mean, like be very clear, like get it. We've been going for him since before the beginning of the summer. So if you're gonna go for him, go for him. But the problem is, regardless of what how bad Ten Hag wants him, you can't just focus on that while other deals aren't going through, which is kind of what the news has been saying, is they're so focused on the De Jong deal that they didn't look for any other midfielders. They didn't, they got some other deals done. Yes, I think Martinez is a great signing at center back. He's going to provide competition. Hopefully he'll be the starting center back, because I don't know, we'll see. Malacia has looked really good. He's going to be starting at left. Malacia is going to be starting at left back come the start of the season. Tellers has already gone out on loan. So it's going to be him versus Luke Shaw. And then Ericsson looked fantastic in the preseason friendly that he started on Sunday. So like, they're all good signings. I'm happy with them, but they didn't address, except for the center back, they didn't really address the biggest needs that we have, which I think is in midfield and a striker. And those are the two ones that like they've teetered on all summer, like, oh, Anthony and Frankie De Jong. And now like Anthony is supposed to cost 100 million from Ajax, and De Jong, who knows where they're at. And it's like, at some point, they had to have backups and also be working with other people. And now it's the beginning of the season and we don't have either of them. And I don't think we're going to get either of them. So
they have the striker. It's Ronaldo.
They have Ronaldo, but we need a backup because he's getting old. B, he's not happy at all.
He's been trying to leave.
Yeah.
What about Martial? Are you guys ready to give him another chance, or is he just...
I am ready to give him another chance, but that doesn't mean we still don't sign, backup if we're relying on an aging, unhappy Ronaldo, who I still think he'll score goals, and then we're relying on a revival of Martial. I don't think that's the best plan for a club like United, who's trying to rebuild and take the next step. Like, we lost Pogba on a free, which is a whole nother thing. We haven't replaced him. I guess Ericsson, if you count that as a replacement for Pogba, but they're not the same type of players at all. Pogba gave us that more defensive option, even if he didn't do great sometimes. Ericsson's not going to do that. Ericsson's never going to play as a 6 or an 8 or anything. Right. He's always going to be a 10. So, yeah, for that reason, United there. That's a lot of reasons, but I think 6 is where everyone would predict them right now. I will say we both have the big 6, the quote unquote big 6, in the top 6, which is
for the first time in a while.
Which is good, yeah. Which is good, and it's the first time in a while. And last season we actually did have the big 6 finish in the top 6 places, just barely. United finished just barely on goal difference, right?
Yeah.
So that's good news. Or it's not really good news, but it's news because it hasn't happened for a while. And so our Arsenal, I think that's one of the reasons that we had that, is because Arsenal and Tottenham improved last season, and made it into the big 6, which they hadn't been doing the years prior. I think Arteta is a fine coach. Obviously, I'm not going to say he's like any of the coaches. I even think Ten Hag's a better coach than Arteta, but I think he's good enough for right now. and I think they're doing a good job with the rebuild. I think they have a lot of good, exciting players. They've gotten rid of players they need to get rid of. They could have done a little bit more as far as signings go, but they've had some good signings, and I think they're going to do well.
All right.
I've
Craig.
always said Arsenal have the. I'm not going to reveal second place. Just going to do third and
let's
fourth.
do third and fourth, and then. All right. So Craig has Chelsea and Tottenham in third and fourth, respectively.
Yeah, I think Arsenal. By the way, I said this last season. I think Arsenal have the best young talent in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And that carried them last season. Everyone thought they were going to do bad. They started out 0 from 9, and then they did pretty well to end the season. They choked the Champions League spot at the end, but they were in prime position to get it. Anyways, Tottenham, I think they finished fourth last season. They got Champions League, which was a huge finish for them. And you would think with all the signings they've made and the manager who's fantastic that I would think they would finish higher. But I think fourth place is still a pretty fair thing because I think it's going to be close. I'm not saying that Tottenham's going to finish fourth because the other two teams are way better. I think City and Liverpool are way better, but I think it's going to be close. Tottenham could easily finish third. They might even finish second because you never know what could happen. But their signings have been amazing. Like I don't think anyone can disagree. They've gotten Dan Levy had a very similar reputation to the United board about not really backing the managers, stuff like that. But Conte had a reputation of kind of bullying people into spending money. He wants his players. So it was interesting to see how that would unfold, and it's unfolded
his way.
Yeah, it's unfolded the right way for Tottenham fans.
I mean, that's the reason why I said that Conte and Tottenham might not work out is because of the whole transfer window.
Yeah.
And how Conte wants to spend, and Tottenham historically does not. And I guess that Tottenham and Levy and the whole Tottenham organization have proven us wrong.
Yeah, 100%. The signings they've made have been incredible. I mean, for some reason I'm forgetting them off the top of my head. They had Charleston, they had Bissouma.
I got it pulled up here. So they have Richarlison, Bissouma, Jed Spence, Ivan Perisic, Fraser Forster, Longley on loan, and I don't know who this person is, Alfie Whiteman. So
yeah, I'm not sure too much about Alfie, but yeah, the others are like, okay, Longley, he's been out of the big picture for a little bit now. I agree, but he used to be one of the big names as far as center backs go in the world. He's got a lot of experience, a lot of kind of know-how. I think he's going to be really important, either backup or starter. And they already had really good center backs. Tottenham center backs showed that they could do well at the end of last season. Longley only makes them better. Perisic, fantastic. Like he's played under Conte in that left wing back position before under Inter Milan, and he did amazing. So much experience. He's been all over the world, won it everywhere. Been in big tournaments, been in big teams, and I think he's going to do fantastic. And then Bissouma for me that's the pick of the bunch. That's the best signing because I think I've been saying he's one of the best defensive midfielders in the Premier League, and he's going to hold down the fort. Whoever he plays with Højbjerg, even if they play him with somebody more more attacking like Bentancur or something, he can hold it down all by himself. And then Richarlison is great competition for Kulusevski up top.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, and then I guess Chelsea. I disagree. I could be wrong, but I disagree. I just think they do have enough this year. The thing is, if you think about the year that they didn't have the striker, which we said they need a striker, that year they started off bad. They sacked Lampard, brought in Tuchel, finished really strong. I think finished fourth in the league and won the Champions League without a striker.
I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying that with the improvements that it's more of because I think Arsenal and Tottenham have improved a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that gap between these three London clubs, I think that it's become a lot tighter.
And I honestly, I would have put Chelsea down where you put them, maybe even sixth. I don't know, if not for their signings like Koulibaly, because I was worried about their defense. But I think Koulibaly is a huge signing. That really, I don't know, made me feel better about their defense because he's kind of proven it at the top level. And I think he's exactly the type of defender they need. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with the forward. But I guess I'm putting a little bit more hope in them and honestly more hope in Tuchel as a manager than I am in Arteta. That's why kind of Arsenal fell in the fifth stick and Chelsea made it in the third, fourth. It's going to be a toss-up between.
I mean, for me, I still am worried about Chelsea's defense and specifically the center back position. I mean, unless Tuchel is going to transition to a back four, which he might, but historically he's played that 3-back formation.
Mm.
Like, if you look at their team right now, they have Koulibaly, who's 31. They have Thiago Silva, who's 37, can't play every single game. Chalobah's 23. Maybe Azpilicueta. I'm not sure like what the deal is with him right now, but I mean he could play center back sometimes. And then Malang Sarr, who really disappointed last year whenever he played. So you have like 4 or 5 like kind of options and stuff like that. Like there's not like I guess your first choice 3 would be Koulibaly, Thiago Silva, and Chalobah. But like I mean, what if one of those players goes down? Then you're playing someone like Sarr or Azpilicueta every single game. That's so for
Yeah.
me. I think that's why they were trying to sign Koundé and they got beaten out by Barcelona. Where like they know themselves that they still need another defensive option.
Yeah, Chelsea's bad transfer window, I guess to be fair to them, is not for lack of trying, unlike United.
They've got linked with everybody that Barcelona signed. So
so yeah, that's kind of synced for them. But no, Cucurella will be an interesting signing. Maybe it'll give them the flexibility, like you said, to either change the formation or move somebody different back to that last center back position. We'll see.
yeah.
So you have to. Let's see. I'm gonna predict who you have.
All right,
I think you have Tottenham third and Arsenal fourth, because there's no way you think Arsenal are better than Tottenham, but you think Arsenal had a good transfer window, and then obviously you're gonna have City, Liverpool up top. Tottenham third, Arsenal fourth. That's my prediction. That's correct.
Yeah, so I have Tottenham third, Arsenal fourth, just like you said. I really like what Arsenal have done this transfer window. I mean, they got Gabriel Jesus to fill in that number 9 spot. Fabio Vieira, who is apparently like a more of an attacking midfielder, so that's just going to provide more depth and stuff for Odegaard and Smith Rowe, who might be going more towards the left winger with a Martinelli. And so if you look at their team, especially going forward, they have not only do they have a lot of young talent, but they have a lot of depth too, right? On the left, you have Smith Rowe and you have Martinelli. Then in the middle, you have Odegaard, you have Vieira, you have Saka down the right, you have Nketiah and now Jesus and our strikers. Like that's a pretty solid attacking cohort there. I think Partey is one of the better holding midfielders in the game. He's pretty solid. And they also, I think this is an underrated signing. They signed Zinchenko from City. I think Zinchenko is really quality, and he can even play midfield. He plays midfield for Ukraine.
He plays attacking midfield for Ukraine.
Yeah, and I think that he might do the same thing. I think he might play in a deeper role, but I think he might be playing midfield for Arsenal, considering that they already have Tierney and I guess they have Nuno Tavares, but he might be going out and be leaving the club. But they have Tierney, who's a pretty solid left back when he's healthy. So yeah, I think Arsenal are doing something good, and I really like the step forward that their young players took, and I think they're going to continue to improve under Arteta this year. And then Tottenham, for all the reasons you said, they've had a brilliant transfer window. Their manager is proven; he knows what he's doing, and I think that the players and more importantly the fans have bought into this project that they've gone under so far. And yeah, they've made some great signings that fill a lot of the holes that they had.
All right, I'm gonna reveal both our first place at the same time.
Why don't you just reveal them all at the same time? Because it'll be pretty obvious who the second place would be.
All right, fine. I'll reveal our first.
Right, so
who do you think I've gone with?
Oh man, I think you've gone with City just because I know how you think Holland's gonna do. I think you've gone with City, but who do you think I've gone with?
I honestly, I'm close to 100% sure that you've gone with Liverpool, and I'll tell you why before we reveal. I think that you were already confident before, because finally you feel like you had a lot of good backup for the front three. Now Mane left, but then you brought in Nunez, so you still have like a good the backup three on the bench would be like Nunez, Jota, and I guess somebody else. So backup 2 on the bench. Or not Nunez, sorry, Firmino and Jota on the bench and Nunez starting. So you have backup 2 like very strong players on the bench. And then honestly, I think that whatever confidence you had before, I think winning the Community Shield has rocketed that confidence, because that was it was a good day for Liverpool fans, because both teams were playing pretty close to their starting lineups. It was, people say it's a small thing, but it's a big. They still wanted to win because it's City versus Liverpool,
Oh,
and also
it was definitely a competitive game. Don't get me wrong. It was
competitive game, and Nunez scored and Haaland missed a couple of sitters. And I think overall, like Liverpool fans, they were already feeling good about their season before, and starting it off with a win against City with their star signing doing badly, Liverpool star signing doing well. I think that was a huge confidence booster. I think Liverpool fans they really believe, okay, we can go toe to toe and we can actually win this thing. Now let's see what you predict.
Well, let's see what we said.
Now you're gonna have predicted City, are you? After all that, all right. No, he has predicted Liverpool.
Yeah. Okay, so Craig goes for City and winning, and then Liverpool second, and then I went with Liverpool winning and City second. And I think that for me, it's going to be so tight that I just let my fandom just like push me over the edge for Liverpool going. I already knew that Liverpool can compete with City. They've done that, with this exception of, I guess there was 2020, 2021 season, with the exception of that year, which was kind of weird with Liverpool being riddled with injuries and stuff. Liverpool and City have been a cut above everyone else, and Liverpool is the only team that has stuck with them throughout this Pep era, basically. Or I guess not the Pep era, but this most recent, like
the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. So I do think that Liverpool can win it, and I think you wouldn't deny that it's a possibility that Liverpool could win it. Losing Mane is going to be difficult, but I think Nunez, as he showed in the Community Shield, yes, we had to take it with a grain of salt that it is a glorified friendly, yada yada yada. You're still playing against top class competition in that game. And before he came on, it was a pretty even game. It was 1-1. Both teams had good chances. You couldn't really tell a difference between the two teams. But when he came on, he completely transformed the game. He provided Liverpool a different outlet of attack, and he won a penalty. He scored a goal, and even then, he had like a one-on-one chance with Ederson that he didn't end up converting. But he just provided a different threat that someone like Firmino didn't provide. I think that Nunez will really provide Liverpool a different target. When you can see that sometimes when teams are sitting low on, like, they're really like absorbing pressure, they have 11 men behind the ball, Liverpool can have some difficulties breaking those types of teams down. Now they'll have a target man up front to maybe like throw up some headers for trench crosses and stuff. So I mean, it's no slight to City. We all know that. I mean, I respect them a lot. I don't expect how their team is formulated with all that oil money, but I do like the style of play they have. They have so much quality and stuff, but I think Liverpool is going to win.
By how much?
Oh, I think that Liverpool will win by 4 points.
No, 4 points.
I think they'll win by 3 points.
Wow, a whole game.
Yeah, one game.
Wow. All right. Big prediction. And I feel like City is a big prediction as well. Not really. I think City will be the more common prediction as far as like if people predicted who wins. So I'm not saying like I'm not saying this is my big prediction like Newcastle. I'm not saying I'm getting crazy here, but the reason I feel like it's bigger this year than it was last year is because this is to win it 3 times in a row.
Yeah, which is unheard of.
The only team that's ever done that is United.
Yep.
And the other thing they'll be doing is winning it like 4 times in 5 years, which again, the only team that's ever done that is United. And we're talking about obviously Alex Ferguson's United that are kind of the benchmark for the Premier League. They've set all the records. He had the greatest ever, whatever, like generation of Premier League domination. The reason this is a big deal is because I actually think, unfortunately, because obviously I'm a United fan, I've never felt this before. Like I've always not been too worried that anyone's ever going to like step up to that level. I actually do think that City have what it takes to be that team that United were. I think they've gotten off to exactly the start that that kind of Ferguson did, and I think they're gonna run with it. I think that they're gonna be establishing that era of domination, They already have. It just has to go on for a little bit longer now to kind of rival the same thing. Like you're 100% right. Liverpool have been right there the whole time, which is really unfortunate. But at the end of the day, it like comes down to who wins the trophies. It's kind of like United and Arsenal back in the day. Arsenal were one of the best teams in the league throughout those kind of late 90s, early 2000s era. And they did win a couple of Premier Leagues as well. But United just won more, right? Even though it was close sometimes, United just won more. And that's why they're going down as the greatest ever team. And I think that like, it's scary to think, but I think that City are kind of showing it. They have probably a lot of these years, the second best team in Europe was Liverpool, or not second best, arguably like Liverpool and City were the two best teams in Europe for a lot of these years. And they've only lost it one time, that one season when they were struggling with whatever center backs and stuff. If they lose it this season, then yeah, I think, Liverpool are right in the conversation. I think it'll be obviously City have won 3 in the last 5 years, Liverpool have won 2. Then that can go back and forth. But I think if they win it this year, they would have won 3 times in a row, 4 times in 5 years. Then that's scarily similar to like that United team, those United teams back in the day. And people are already talking about.
I agree with you 100%. But I think that to just write that off as a foregone conclusion right now is not giving Liverpool or the rest of,
I'm not writing it off. This is my prediction. I have to predict one of them finishing.
Yeah, but you're already talking about their legacy. I want to hear like why do you think that they're gonna win?
I think that's what I'm saying. I think that because they've proven it again over the last few years, they've won 3 out of the last 4, right? With competition, with arguably more competition than some of the Alex Ferguson United teams have. Because people always say a lot of times the Premier League wasn't great, except for a couple of teams back then. They had one of the best teams in Europe competing with them through those years, and they've only lost it once in 4 years, which is already impressive. And now they have Haaland. They did it without a striker for the last 2 years. Like they didn't have. Okay, Aguero was kind of there the year before, but he wasn't really. They've done it without a striker the last 2 years, and now they've signed arguably the best striker in the world. Like people can say what some people say Kane, people say whatever. That's why I said arguably one of the best strikers in the world. Then he's only 20, 21 years old to go with the team that already won the league the last couple of years without a striker, and they just keep signing backups in other places. They signed Alvarez to back up. I guess they lost.
Alvin Phillips was like a $50 million backup.
Yeah, to Rodri. They, the only position that I'm thinking, and their center backs came back last season. They have options again, even though that was a worry before. They have one of the best goalkeepers in the league, maybe even in the world. They have João Cancelo, who's number 7. You talked about that during our Premier League draft episode. He's arguably one of the best right backs. He's definitely one of the best right backs in the league, arguably the best right back in the league, depending on who you're talking to, a City or Liverpool fan.
Or wherever. Play back really for City. He plays left back.
Yeah, he played left back, but I think he's going to play.
I mean, once Kyle Walker leaves, then he'll play right back.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I guess so. The whole summer I've been thinking that he's going to play right back because Cucurella is going to play left back. That's it's been in my mind. Cancelo can play on both sides. Cucurella is not going to City anymore, so Cancelo will play on the left. They sold Zinchenko and Walker will play on the right. Yeah. But one of the best outside backs in the league. How about that? And yeah, so I don't know. I just have more faith in them than. But
I mean, they haven't given you any reasons but to have faith in them. I just think that, like you said, it's going to be really close, and
I think it's going to be closer than. By the way, I think it's going to be closer than 3 points because again, it's not that I actually think like you're saying that I'm saying that it's a foregone conclusion. I'm saying that I still think as far as like toe to toe, like Liverpool and City are almost just as good teams as each other. It's not that I'm saying that like, oh, City are but the problem is, I just think that City, because they've proven it, that's what I'm going to go with. I think that they have a little bit of that fight. Like they're going to win on the last day. That's just the feeling I have. Like Liverpool, okay, they did win it. It wasn't close that season, which is, I guess, a good thing, right? That it wasn't close. But for me, it works opposite because when it gets close, I just feel like City have pulled it out more often when it comes on. Well, every time when it came down to the last.
When it got close, it was more of like City picking up their results again, and because Liverpool did all they could. Unless that was like the beginning of the year when they were like 14 points behind at one point in January. After that,
I agree, but that's what I'm saying. So City put themselves in a little bit better position, and then they pulled out whatever those. The last 2 weeks this year, they came down from 1-0 down twice in the last three weeks, right? To
Well,
win.
in the last game, they were down 2-0.
They were down 2-0. Yeah, I forgot about. Oh yeah, you're right. They came down from 2-0 down twice in the last 3 weeks to win 2 games. So I'm not actually saying that City are that much better than Liverpool. That I think they're going to be the domination team. I think that they're just going to pull out the result at the end. And unfortunately, just like it did for Arsenal, they go down a little bit lower than United. I think that's what's going to happen to Liverpool. But that's my prediction. I like Liverpool a lot.
And I think that even if City do win this, or whoever wins this the Premier League this year, like this is not the like that last year of this rivalry.
No, definitely not.
They're already like building their next the next version of their squad, and we see it happening right now. And I really think that the rivalry between City and Liverpool will, I guess, peter out when Pep or Klopp decides to move on.
No, it definitely won't. That's the one thing. It definitely won't peter out. Like you talk about United Arsenal to this day, and they're not in the same city. That's not anything. It's not. That's only that rivalry is just because of the Wenger Ferguson rivalry.
Yeah, but I'm saying that like the Liverpool and City, I'm not okay. The rivalry for them of like challenging as the clear two top teams.
Okay.
Those two managers move on, then I think the door is open again for someone like Tottenham or Chelsea to fill in those shoes. But until then, I think it is Liverpool and City's race. And I mean, I don't know. I just think maybe Holland takes a little bit of time to fill in with all that time that City have been getting used to playing with a false nine, and Holland's just the complete opposite of that. They have to maybe they'll have some growing pains at the beginning of the season and drop some points here and there. So we don't know. It's going to be an exciting year. Like you said,
I think it's going to be a 1-pointer.
My biggest takeaway from doing this was that there is a lot of quality in the league this year.
Yeah,
and it's going to be a really fun season.
And by the way, just to clarify, I hope I kind of hope that City don't actually win this year, because like I said, I'm very proud of like United's. That's the only thing I have to be proud of right now of United is these records. Like last year when Liverpool were, could have won the treble, and a year before that when City could have blah blah blah. It's like it's never happened before, and every year that like scares me when Liverpool and City threaten to win the treble, because United are the only team that have done it. United the only team that
no, they could have won the quadruple, I think.
What? Oh, Liverpool could have won the quadruple. Yeah, you're right.
FA Cup, Carabao Cup, and Champions League and Premier League.
Yeah, they could have won the quadruple. Like that stuff terrifies me, and this scares me as well, because no one ever felt like it was ever going to happen until the last 5 years. Like, not even the last 5 years, until like maybe now. Even when City won a couple, Liverpool looked really good. It never looked like there was ever going to be like a team that was really like dominating like United were for like years to come, and not City of all people, because like you said, they're new, they're oil money people, they don't have any legacy. It's scary to think that like maybe in 20 years they could have that legacy if they continue. But like you said, I think Pep has to stay. I think Klopp has to stay for Liverpool to do it. Actually, I don't know if that's what you said. I think that's what you said.
That's what I said.
Yeah, because Ferguson was there for 26 years to establish that domination. So I think they have to stay. But yeah, I don't
think nowadays it's unheard of for a manager to stay for that long.
Yeah, so I don't particularly want City to win the league. That's just what I think is going to happen. I would much rather. I don't know if I would rather Liverpool win the league. I don't want either of them to win the league. I would rather
Manchester United win the league.
Yeah, I would rather United win the league, or Newcastle.
All right. Well, it'll be an interesting season. It all kicks off in 2 days' time, and we will be with you guys soon. I know both of us are moving for work soon, and so we'll try to get you guys an episode, maybe to recap the first week of the Prem and maybe any takeaways that we had. We'll get that going next week. So we'll catch you guys next time.